My name is Kim, and I just turned 35. I should have been celebrating my birthday with family, but instead I found myself standing on the porch of my childhood home, calling my own sister to ask permission to enter. Something inside me finally exploded after years of watching Jennifer transform from my grieving sister into the gatekeeper of our mother's memory. 3 months ago, our mother passed away after a long battle with cancer. Jennifer, being the older sister and the one who lived closest, naturally took charge of the funeral arrangements and the house. What started as practical necessity slowly morphed into something else entirely. The house that once welcomed anyone at any time, where neighbors dropped by for coffee and grandchildren ran freely through every room, had become Jennifer's fortress. The moment that changed everything was last Tuesday. I had driven 2 hours from the city to drop off some of Mom's favorite flowers at her garden, something I'd been doing every week since the funeral. As I pulled into the driveway, I saw Jennifer's car already there. I walked up to the front door and used my key, the same key I'd had for 15 years. The door opened, and Jennifer appeared in the hallway, her face flushed with anger. "You can't just show up here anymore, Sarah," she said, blocking my path. "This is my house now. You need to call first." We grew up in a typical middle-class family in a small suburban town. Mom was a nurse, Dad worked at the local bank until he died when I was 22. Jennifer is 3 years older than me, and we were close as children despite our different personalities. She was always the responsible one, the planner, the one who followed rules. I was more spontaneous, more likely to take risks, more willing to bend the rules when necessary. Our childhood home was a 3-bedroom ranch with a big backyard where Mom grew her prize-winning roses. It was the house where every holiday was celebrated, where friends and family gathered for barbecues and birthday parties. Mom never locked the doors during the day, and everyone knew they were welcome. The house wasn't just our home, it was the family hub, the place where aunts and uncles would stop by unannounced, where cousins would crash during college breaks. When Dad died, Jennifer stepped up immediately. She was already married with 2 kids, but she made sure Mom wasn't alone. She organized the funeral, handled the paperwork, made sure Mom was taking care of herself. I was grateful for her help because I was struggling with my own grief and trying to establish my career in the city. Jennifer became Mom's primary caregiver, and I became the sister who visited on weekends and holidays. The dynamic worked for years. Jennifer lived 20 minutes away and could check on Mom regularly. I sent money when Mom needed home repairs and visited as often as I could. When Mom got sick, Jennifer coordinated the doctor's appointments and treatments. I took time off work to help during the worst weeks, but Jennifer carried the daily burden. I thought we were a team, handling our mother's care together, each contributing what we could. The first signs of trouble appeared during Mom's final months. Jennifer started making decisions without consulting me. She hired a cleaning service and chose Mom's medications without asking for my input. When I questioned her choices, she would say, "I'm here every day, Sarah. I know what she needs." At first, I appreciated that she was handling the details. Managing Mom's care from 2 hours away was exhausting, and I was grateful someone was taking charge. But the control slowly expanded. Jennifer began screening Mom's visitors, saying she was too tired for company. She rearranged Mom's furniture without asking anyone. She threw away things that belonged to our father, claiming they were taking up space. When I protested, she said, "Mom asked me to handle this. She doesn't want to make these decisions herself." I started noticing that Jennifer's version of events didn't always match what Mom told me during our phone calls. Mom would mention wanting to see certain friends, but Jennifer would tell me she wasn't up for visitors. Mom would ask me to bring specific items from her bedroom, but Jennifer would say she'd already taken care of it. The contradictions were small at first, but they accumulated over time. During Mom's final weeks, Jennifer essentially moved into the house. She said it was temporary, just until Mom was better. But after the funeral, she never left. She started referring to it as the house instead of Mom's house. She changed the locks, saying it was for security. She told me she was keeping an eye on things until we decided what to do with the property. The warning signs were clear, but I ignored them because I was drowning in my own grief. I told myself that Jennifer was grieving too, that she needed to feel useful, that she would return to normal once the shock wore off. I convinced myself that her controlling behavior was temporary, a way of coping with loss. I didn't realize she was building a wall around the place that had once been our family's heart. The first major incident happened 2 weeks after the funeral. I drove down to collect some of Mom's jewelry that she had promised to my daughter. When I arrived, Jennifer was in the kitchen, sorting through Mom's recipe cards. I headed toward Mom's bedroom, and Jennifer followed me. "What are you looking for?" she asked. "The jewelry box. Mom wanted Emma to have her pearl necklace." "I already went through all of that," Jennifer said. "I'm keeping the valuable pieces safe." "Safe from what?" "From me." "I didn't say that. I just think we should be more organized about how we handle Mom's belongings." I found the jewelry box in Jennifer's bedroom, not Mom's. When I asked her about it, she said she was afraid someone might break in. The pearls were gone. Jennifer claimed she'd put them in a safe deposit box, but she couldn't remember which bank. That night, I saw a Facebook photo of Jennifer's daughter wearing Mom's pearl necklace to her school dance. The second incident was about money. Mom had a savings account with both our names on it, money she'd set aside for emergencies. After the funeral expenses were paid, there should have been about $8,000 left. When I asked Jennifer for the account statements, she said she was handling the finances and would get me copies later. 3 weeks later, she told me the account was empty, that Mom's medical bills had been higher than expected. But I had copies of the insurance payments, and the numbers didn't add up. The third incident was about the house itself. Jennifer started making changes without consulting me. She threw away Mom's old recliner, saying it was worn out. She donated Mom's books to the library. She repainted the kitchen, covering up the pencil marks on the door frame where Mom had measured our heights as children. When I protested, she said, "I'm the one living here, Sarah. I should be able to make it comfortable." But the most painful incident was about Mom's garden. I had been tending to her rose bushes every week, watering them and adding fertilizer. It was my way of staying connected to her memory. One Saturday, I arrived to find that Jennifer had hired a landscaping company to clear out the entire garden. The roses were gone, replaced with low-maintenance shrubs. Jennifer said the roses were too much work and that she didn't have time to maintain them. I spent over $3,000 on travel costs, driving back and forth to help with Mom's care and handle her affairs. I took unpaid leave from work, missing important meetings and postponing projects. My marriage suffered because I was always stressed about family obligations. My husband started making comments about how much time and money I was spending on Jennifer's decisions. Friends began noticing the changes too. My college roommate asked why I seemed so angry all the time. My neighbor mentioned that I looked exhausted. My daughter asked why Aunt Jennifer was being mean to me. Even my mother-in-law, who usually stayed out of family drama, suggested that I might need to have a difficult conversation with my sister. The final confrontation happened on my birthday. I had planned to spend the day at Mom's house, sitting in her favorite chair and looking through photo albums. I wanted to feel close to her on what should have been a celebration. I had my key, and I had been coming to the house regularly for 3 months. I never imagined I would need permission. When Jennifer opened the door and told me I couldn't enter without calling first, something inside me snapped. All the accumulated frustration, grief, and anger came pouring out. "This is not your house, Jennifer," I said, my voice shaking. "This is our mother's house, and I have just as much right to be here as you do." "Actually, you don't," she replied calmly. "I'm the one taking care of this place. I'm the one paying the utilities and the insurance. I'm the one who's here every day, dealing with the repairs and the maintenance. You're here because you chose to be here. Nobody asked you to move in. Mom needed someone to take care of her, and I did it. While you were living your life in the city, I was here, dealing with everything. I was dealing with things too. I was working to pay for Mom's medications and her medical bills. I was driving down here every weekend, missing my own life to help take care of her. Your weekend visits don't compare to what I did," Jennifer said. "I sacrificed my own family time to be here. My kids barely saw me during Mom's final months because I was taking care of her. And I'm grateful for that. But that doesn't give you the right to keep me out of the house where I grew up. I'm not keeping you out. I'm just asking you to call first, like any normal person would do. Normal people don't lock their siblings out of their childhood home." The argument continued for 20 minutes, with both of us saying things we couldn't take back. Jennifer accused me of being selfish and ungrateful. I accused her of being controlling and greedy. We stood on the porch, voices raised, neighbors probably listening from their windows. Finally, Jennifer said, "If you don't like how I'm handling things, you can hire a lawyer." That's when I realized the conversation was over. My sister had drawn a line in the sand, and I had to decide whether to cross it. I spent the next week researching my legal rights. I learned that since Mom died without a will, the house technically belonged to both of us equally. Jennifer couldn't legally prevent me from entering, but she could make it extremely uncomfortable. I consulted with a probate attorney who explained the process of forcing a sale of the property, but warned me that it would be expensive and would likely destroy my relationship with Jennifer permanently. I decided to try a different approach first. I wrote Jennifer a letter explaining my feelings and proposing a compromise. I suggested we create a schedule for accessing the house, with designated times for each of us. I offered to help with the expenses and maintenance. I asked if we could work together to sort through Mom's belongings in a fair and organized way. Jennifer's response was swift and harsh. She called me and said, "I don't want to share this house with you, Sarah. I've been taking care of it, and I'm going to continue taking care of it. If you want to visit, you can call first and ask permission." That's when I realized I had to take legal action. I filed a petition for partition, which would force the sale of the house and divide the proceeds between us. I also discovered that Jennifer had been using Mom's credit cards after her death, racking up over $5,000 in charges. I reported this to the credit card companies and demanded that she pay back the money. The legal process was brutal. Jennifer hired her own attorney and fought every step of the way. She claimed that she deserved the house because she had been Mom's primary caregiver. She argued that I had abandoned my responsibilities and didn't deserve an equal share. She even tried to claim that Mom had promised her the house, though she had no documentation to support this claim. The legal battle took 8 months to resolve. In the end, the court ordered the house to be sold and the proceeds divided equally between us. Jennifer was also required to pay back the money she had charged to Mom's credit cards, plus interest. The house sold for less than it was worth because Jennifer had let the maintenance slide during the legal proceedings. The process changed our family forever. Jennifer's children, who had always been close to me, were told that I was trying to steal their inheritance. My relationship with my niece and nephew became strained and formal. Family gatherings became awkward affairs where we maintained polite conversation but avoided discussing anything meaningful. But the legal victory also brought unexpected freedom. I was able to recover Mom's jewelry from Jennifer's safe deposit box and give the pearls to my daughter as Mom had intended. I used my share of the house proceeds to create a college fund for my daughter and to take the family vacation that I had been postponing for years. Most importantly, I learned to set boundaries with family members who try to control me. I realized that Jennifer's behavior during Mom's illness was part of a larger pattern of control that had been present in our relationship for years. I had been accommodating her need to be in charge because it seemed easier than fighting, but I had been enabling her controlling behavior. The experience taught me that grief can bring out both the best and worst in people. Jennifer's desire to control Mom's house and belongings was her way of dealing with loss, but it came at the expense of my own grieving process. I learned that I don't have to sacrifice my own needs to accommodate someone else's coping mechanisms, even if that person is family. Today, Jennifer and I have limited contact. We exchange Christmas cards and attend family functions, but we're not close. She eventually bought a smaller house and has started dating again. My niece and nephew are adults now, and they've begun to form their own opinions about what happened. They still love their mother, but they understand that the situation was more complicated than they originally believed. I've learned that family relationships are not guaranteed to last forever, and that's okay. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is create distance from people who try to control your life, even if they're related to you. I've also learned that standing up for yourself often comes with a price, but the alternative is losing yourself in someone else's expectations. The most important lesson I learned is that grief is personal, and everyone has the right to process loss in their own way. Jennifer needed to control Mom's house and belongings to feel close to her memory. I needed to visit freely and maintain my own rituals. Neither approach was wrong, but we couldn't find a way to respect each other's needs. If you're dealing with a family member who's trying to control your access to shared memories or inherited property, don't ignore the warning signs. Set boundaries early, communicate clearly, and don't be afraid to seek legal advice if necessary. Your relationship with your family members is important, but it shouldn't come at the expense of your own well-being. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is the truth, even if they're not ready to hear it. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself is the courage to walk away from relationships that no longer serve you, even if they're family.